Hello, 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 everyone. I think you know who I am, but I'll just announce it anyways. Mike Arnold here, co-founder of Pat Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. So, how's everyone doing today? Hope you had a good day of trading. Hello, hello, Wavy. No times for dips, just straight up. It was another one of those rally days, shrugging off everything in the world, including rate hikes. Powell thinks that everything's priced in. So we should go to new all-time highs or all new time highs or new all-time whatever. Hello options 22. Ooh, where is it? Boy, I update something and then, served me right for updating Ecamm right before a live stream, but I was trying to fix some issues. Favorite line of the day, Powell may well be roll for well-regulated stablecoins, may be stable over time. Don't see that right now, and I don't see the stable coins being stable either because they're either backed with complete garbage or not fully backed or even at times completely unbacked. But that's a story for another day. Hello, Tesla Force. The intro always pumps me up, and that big shout out again to Ken who made that new intro. So thank you once again, Ken. Let's see. Looks like everything is fixed now. Thank you, Jay, making the market great again. Looks like. Yeah, we shall see. But this is what you get. I have to deal with so many. See, the bottom's in, the bottom's in, the bottom's in, the bottom's in, the bottom's in. That's rarely going to happen, but we have to trade what is. That's why we prepare for both sides. I can still see there is a slight upside potential before another rollover, but that's why these kind of markets are very challenging to trade short term and long term because it sucks people in and then it crushes their hopes and dreams. Uh, I said somebody say 4,800 before the first rate hike. Well, I got remind me that when we're looking at charts. I was kidding. I figured you were kidding, but people don't know. People just don't know. By the way, tomorrow, well, before I get into that, I'm getting ahead of myself. We have so many great people here, and I always like bringing new people into the fold. So if you're new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting that like button. Again, longer term viewers, hit that like button and leave some comments now. Now. Let's see if I switch cameras. Okay, we didn't go to fuzz mode. We didn't go to fuzzy mode. Let's see. Tomorrow, you have continuing jobless claims, initial jobless claims, more Powell testimony. I hope he gives some more zingers. Hey, Wavy, if you have any more good things, that reminds me of I was following it, but geez, I just they don't know what the hell they're doing. ISM non-manufacturing PMI is in the morning. Factory orders, Fed Williams is in the evening. So I took off everything of low importance. We don't have to review all that. Here's your heat map. Here's your heat map. Everything's wonderful in the world. Very little red. Very little. See, the war's all LMT's down. War's over. Maybe LMT's down and Netflix is down. Maybe they're ran out of war streaming movies. Countdown to FOMC. This thing's been all over the place today. It was, there are a possibility of a 50 basis point hike, but Powell pretty much slammed the door on that for March. And then it popped back up. There might be no hike. They're going to hike in March unless hell would have to freeze over without a hike. And I don't see that happening. Let's see. So there we go. That gets us out of the way there. 4,800. Oh, technically, you could get up to 4,800 without making a new high. You technically get there. Could technically get there. See, what's interesting, though, all right, I got asked a good question, and we still have been able to close above that 62.5%, but that's right. It's still at the top of the rotation zone. Here's again why I assembled all these tools together. You see how resistance running up, bam, 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 bam. I feel like the Flintstones. So that's the key level. But if we close above there, what does that mean? What likely favors higher price action. Now, how high? Well, one of the main things I go is then I also look at, this is just a little tip for anything you're looking at. Then I always bump it up to the larger term swings. So you could easily come up here and still not close beyond the bigger 62.5. So you could easily run up, come up to this prior topping area, and still roll over again. So I always like to double check it when you have these swings within a swing. We still haven't closed above there yet, but it gives us an option to update the levels. And since the world is fixed, coming back down, first that key level, hitting it twice. Little double bottoming pattern right here. Little double bottoming pattern with the conservative targets. It was very interesting. So that was a little play. And then if you went with the aggressive, which they were virtually the same because it's virtually the same two bottoms, but that's where it was. So that was the play, intraday play once it came off, and then it's rolling back down from there. But this, remember, that was that horribly sloppy double, and this is now a triple, so we cannot use those anymore. So what will I be watching for tomorrow? Again, we've updated this level. You can see there's some minor significance. Let me bump up. Let me actually put on a new line. There is some minor significance. See here, coming down, then it chopped back and forth, which doesn't bother me because then you had this power move away, and then it's retested here and a move back. So that gives me about a 43.92 area. Getting above there, then I'm targeting 44.36 with the 200 on the 4 hour. We get above there. Then I'm going 44.65 to about 44.73 with this prior top area. Pullbacks, my first support zone now is 43.45 and then 42.86. And then we get below there. It doesn't get interesting, though, until you get below 42.55. Below 42.55, as I talked before, then you're into that clear path. And you see, if we start getting above here, pay still attention. Intraday, if you're trying to trade this intraday, if we start rolling over still against the top of the rotation zone, although it's chipped away at it twice. So you start getting momentum above there. I'm going with the breakout move and really intermediate 43.36, 44.36, but my next key area would be this 44.64. Let's see what we got. Oh, some of the stuff kills me inside. What's that? The signs of a major top. Well, again, I think we are in a major top, and again, I still have major sell signals. Although in the other sell signal I'm releasing soon, that other longer term system, the only one that triggered it is the Nasdaq so far. I sold out of the money covered calls after today's rally. That could be a very good strategy. You know, you rally. This is whether you raise stops or do what Abraham did, which I think is an excellent strategy, especially for things you want to try holding on. You want some protection. Covered calls are a fantastic way to go because if it rolls over, you can offset some of that pullback with the selling those calls. If it rallies, a lot of these rallies will roll over. So even if it rallies, you can still, and then dips back down, you can collect the covered call income. And that's generally for stuff that you don't want to get out of. If you do want to get out of it or it's a short-term holding, I like to raise stops aggressively in these kind of markets. When it's longer term holdings, I like to do those sell covered calls, and then there's also start selling off again. You can start rolling down those strike prices. No idea what the market is going to do the rest of the day, and I've got a headache, so go back to sleep. And I have a headache too, but I am here. I am here. I wasn't even going to say it till Rich said he has a headache, but maybe we're on that same vibration, Rich. Hey, Dan Jet. How do you feel about triple tops or quad tops? They play out as well as doubles? No, they do not. I've talked about triples. First off, slightly favor a continuation pattern, but it's only like 52, 53 to, let's just go off 50. It was 52 point something percent. So let's just call it 53%. So at 53% favors a continuation, 47% still favors a reversal. Does that give me enough odds to trade something? Now, if there's something else with that, like I get another pattern and there's something else, then yes, that will give me more insight. But just based off that is why I also hate triangles, because they're too close to 50-50 probabilities. I want something that really can tip the odds in my favor. Now, the more areas you can see, it's so hard to talk about because what's a quad triple bottom turns into a quad bottom, turns into a bottom. You know, here, let me show you this. Like, uh, look at PSLV, which is a Sprott Physical Silver Trust. Great way to play silver. One day I'll do a really good lecture about trading around a core position in this. But look at all these bottoms. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What does this favor? You know, so after 3, you know, is this the breakdown? Is this the breakdown? No, is this the breakdown? Or is it the reversal? Or is it going this? Is it going that? I need an advantage. Now, with this, it's against a key 50% harmonic, so it's still, you know, these were great buying opportunities because of the long-term bullish nature of silver. But you have like what's 6 bottoms? A 6 tuplet bottom? I don't even know what 6 is. But that's an example. It's just the odds start to go so close to 50-50, you're better to trade other patterns within there. You're better to trade like there were buy patterns here, there was a buy pattern here, there was a buy pattern here. Okay, there I'll use those against that key support level as long as I have another buy pattern. Let me get back to the S&P. By the way, even rallying up, see, I just want to point something out. Even rallying up on the weekly into this above that 62.5, you get up to that 75, that next cluster area, right at that weekly rotation zone. And if we look at this, again, the bigger, it would have to really, before I would be at all willing to target returns to these higher price levels more aggressively, I need to close above about 45.50. So just keep that in mind. I'd rather play it. This is the time of the markets to play it safe. When others are too aggressive, I like to play it safe. When others are afraid and ready to crap themselves, that's when it's time to get aggressive on reversal moves. Inside day in the NASDAQ futures. So really, you know, we haven't gone very far since the 25th. I mean, this is just a horizontal correction pattern, still with a declining rotation zone. So we can take off these because now we have too many tops, so we can't use those targets. I'm still keeping an eye on this 14,264. And that's momentum above there, not just a little poke above there, but getting some momentum above there. Then I'm targeting 14,408 to 14,420. That's pretty significant. That's a 62.5 and the first harmonic from there. And then I'm going to 14,492, so essentially 14,500 with the declining 200 on the 4-hour. To the downside, I'm still really liking. I might bump it down. Oops, shoot. I hate when I do that. We're going to bump this level down. We're going to bump this level down. We're going to, boy, see what happens? I'm just off my game today, but I can still do analysis. Just don't require me to do good muscular movement. So below this 14,130, I'd then be targeting this 13,913. Really like this level because this is where I will look at lows, but look at we have enough candle bodies keying there to give us that level, and then it's just reinforced by these lows. So that's why I target this 13,913 to 13,900. Below there, I like the other side of this little horizontal shelf, 13,797, so 13,800. Then below there, we have, again, the clear path move. So now I'd start watching for the bigger breakdown. To the upside, above 14,327, again, that cluster, then the flat 200. Let's see what that looks like on the daily. And right at this highs from yesterday, we have the 21 EMA, which is the top of the rotation zone. And then really, we're still into this clear path. It's just rotation zone was in the way, but the ultimate target would be up around this 14,593 to 14,600. Yeah, the doubles work out great. Again, nothing's perfect, but it gives you so much of an advantage. I forgot who put it in. Was that Jake the Snake who put it in. His results from February were like 80 something percent for his doubles trades. That's good. I mean, you have to mess up real bad, or have really bad reward to risk ratios to mess up an 80 something percent win rate. Yeah, I was out. We can look at snow. I don't know if maybe I'm just gonna do one stream today. Let me see how this one goes. Tomorrow we'll definitely do two because Bob will be on the first one. But let me see how this one goes. Dow also. This has formed a bigger top pattern now. Dow inside day also. So that's where I key off yesterday's high and low for major levels. Yesterday's high 34,065 above there, 34,302. That major would be a return to the 200 on the 4 hour, and that 34,540. This isn't really doing. I got to reset a couple of these levels. That's not doing much. You got to bump this level up, and the Dow has been trickier to trade now. I like the S&P has been much better to trade. If we reverse, you do have that longer term little clear path, so keep that in mind right here. And that could easily return us to 33,500 area. You see this? There's not many stopping points. There's this little stopping point behind it, which I'll keep an eye on in the 1 hour rotation zone. But you start breaking through there. I'm watching retargeting this area. It's a little choppier below that. So the next key little minor point would be here. 33,296, so 33,300, then 33,142. See, then we have another stopping point. It doesn't get clear, 32,950. If you get down below 32,950, and I'm not just talking tomorrow, then you're into that clear path. So we got the upside and the downside with the Dow also, but the Dow has been, you see, weaker, just hugging that 8 EMA at the bottom of the rotation zone. So the Dow has been unable to really get a huge move on. Russell still trying to decide, still have this potential double in play. Fair way off from triggering it. So that's the only thing I'm watching. Really, crude continued the march higher. Didn't quite get that 113s, pulling off a bit. We had that little short-term pattern, but look, coming back down that first target right there, and the prior harmonic, and then reversing up. And remember, I talked about this before. I used to talk about this with Tesla when we had a double that was fighting a super strong trend. I use these for profit taking and use these levels for possible aggressive re-entries. Okay, I don't go short especially a 1 hour double. I do not go short against this, but it's a great way to ratchet up stops or use those targets for reversals. Okay, that's how you do it. Same thing as we used to talk about with Tesla. What are the next key levels higher? And I think one of these days you're going to get a very strong reversal, but you got to trade with the trend. Now, it's very difficult to get in this at this pulled up away unless you're trading super short term, as I talked about this morning, because when we do get that reversal, your stops, it could easily pull back to this $100 mark and then continue higher again. And look at this. Look at the Brent crude 200 Junes. Look at those. Those are going through the roof too, which is juicing stuff. I mean, it's back to those juiced up markets. That's what's so funny. We're back to the juiced up markets. I'm going to the most recent swing here. Got to update this. We got to use this as the pause to get an idea of where our next major levels are. So 115.64, cluster 118.77, then 122.37, then 125.03 to the upside. First key support levels is about 106.50, and then I'd be watching. If we break below that, look, your 25% roughly at 100, and that's where I'm targeting for a pullback on a longer term basis. Where do we sit there? There's a nice 5-minute double bottom at that low target on crude, and we could take a look at that. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, that's where that crude sell-off was, and you had that. I don't know if that entirely qualified on this, but this is what I call an ice cream trade, anyways. So it's when the moving averages collapse up, and you go into this somewhat sloppy advanced clear path. It was a really nice reversal pattern right there, and then you see on the 15-minute you have this just beautiful clear path with very few stopping points, and you can see the lack of pausing points on the way back up. So just that's pretty nice right there. Gold, not much going on. Still starting to watch again for a potentially bigger pullback. This is shrugging off some inflation stuff, and I'd love a bigger pullback to reload on some stuff with gold. Same with silver. Love a bigger pullback with there. I'm watching a lot of different levels because these are great for trading around a core position as long as you're in this huge back and forth area. And this is a great way to true it too. You watch for these key harmonic levels, and you can even trade. You can divide your whole position up into even 8 increments. And I love trading back and forth. So let's just make it easy, meaning like when there's longer term, I put on more, but when you're up here, I like to take stuff off when it hits key levels and gets topping patterns. Then you pull back one harmonic, add a bit back. You pull back another harmonic, add a bit back. Rallies up a harmonic, takes something off. Pulls back a couple harmonics, add it back. It's trading back and forth around the core position, and that's a great way to trade this stuff when you're in for gold and silver, both of them. When you're in these massive consolidation patterns, because you can really trade back and forth until these get going. Now, once they break to major highs, that's when you just ride your position and you add more aggressively on shallow pullbacks. But as long as we're in this big toppy area, that's a great way to learn to trade around a core position. Let me know if you want more information on that. Notes, by the way, look at this. I have the weekly here. Look at that, to the weekly rotation zone. Running all the way up, bam, to that weekly rotation zone and the prior 50% harmonic and moving back down. These are some massive moves for the notes. I mean, these last 2 days, this is massive. And what we have earlier, you had that really nice double. Boom, 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 boom. What was the next target beyond that? End of the clear path move. So that's done. I'm still watching for rates. Unless we get another massive flight to safety for something, I'm watching for rates to head back down. Head back up. Sorry, geez, my head's backwards today. I'm looking for note prices to head back down and this to head back up. What is the next levels? Well, you can still do this. And really start watching for a close above about 1.921. Then I'll really get more aggressively back to the upside. Let's see. Dollar index looking a little toppy up here. So I'm just going to see if that starts pulling back. The custom Apple, Microsoft. See, you've rallied, but look, they were still caught in this similar pattern. This is still way off its highs, recovered a bit, but still. All right, we made a lower low. We could still make, even if it rallies up into this area, still a lower high before another rollover. Again, and the liquidity in this market is still absolutely pathetic. Keep that in mind too. So you can have these moves pushed around really easily. What? I didn't want that. Crypto. I mean, this is back and forth, but look, has not been able to get the close yet above this thing. The only long-term crypto pattern is if it can get to trigger this double, which is still valid on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Other than that, I'm still watching for a pullback. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to point something else to. Let me look. Do you mind if I just do one stream today? If somebody could post that in Discord. I'm just sorry. My head's really bugging me. And I wanted to look at Tesla. I'll just do it in here. Tesla closing pretty much at the daily rotation zone. If we get through this 890 area, I'm watching for that 913 and then about 936 to the upside. What would change my opinion? We tried to break out, we tried to break down, got caught on the 1 hour rotation zone here today. So can't get bearish unless I get below about 850 again. Then it's trading in this clear path down right now. And again, we've had the major sell patterns on Tesla, so this is still just short-term bullish plays and then watching for a bigger, longer-term roll down. So I want to take a look at Snow, which was earnings today. Where was that? Earnings after the market. Earnings after the market, we had Snowflake, so I was going to check that out. And by the way, before the market tomorrow, we just put those up right now. Best Buy, definitely checking that out for the way the consumer and inflation stuff's looking, and definitely going to check out Kroger. So and I'll check in on Big Lots too. Isn't that just such a great name, Big Lots? Let's see. EWZ closed right at the 200-day today after decent little pullback rotation back up. Actually closed above it. The Brazil, yeah, this is getting to a long-term pattern. Again, coming down to the rotation zone, already softening the 200, and now looks like it's closing through here. And we've talked about emerging markets before. This is a fantastic longer-term play. The only thing that would, this is also what's really nice about this. I just want to check that out on the weekly. Yeah, you got the first cross of the weekly. You got the weekly 200 here. I love this play. Yeah, I'd be banking on higher prices. The only thing I'd watch is if you do, my stop level would be right here. If we did get there, then I'd watch for the bigger pullback to reload again. But that's what's so nice. This is a fantastic play, and you can keep your stop down here and just ride it higher. And the first target here is roughly 36.28. Let me see where those harmonics give us. Oops. So let's see where that plays out with that weekly. Look at that. So I'd target 35.78 to about 36.20. And right here, we zoom in on a weekly basis, see where we're closed. We cut through here. Look at where those one stopping point is. Look at that. You can't make this stuff up. Even if I tried to make this stuff, I couldn't make this stuff up. You see how look at that little stopping point, because here's the clear path. Here's the breakdown zone. So this was prior support breakdown, so you have to target that, but look where that first harmonic is. Great area to raise a stop. And then you got this one, and that could be even used to raise a stop again. And if you wanted to get a little more aggressive than the 200 week, the full end of the clear path is right up here on the weekly basis. And you have resistance here. You have resistance here. So I would not ignore that to at least take something off at some point and then wait for another pullback. And you see on that daily. So here was resistance. Is this making sense to everybody? This was resistance, support, support, support. Uh-oh, resistance. Got eked through there, but again, resistance area, and then rolled back over. So would not ignore that. And how did we find that key area? Found it off the weekly end of the clear path. And you can fine tune it a bit, but that's, again, it would be a full target. Watch for a bigger pullback then, and then you could target the next thing. I do. We can look at it in here. I occasionally do. I try to look at it once a week. Sometimes I forget. But we can look at RSP. Thank you, Christoph. Again, this is Such a fantastic community. Everybody bringing in their different insights, their different ideas. Uh, a weekly double top on RSP. Well, it was triggered back here. It was triggered here, essentially went to first target, which was also this support area. But longer term, yeah, that's a much bigger breakdown. Boy, you roll this back over below about 146 again. Watch out below. Because look at this. Not many stopping points. And look where the next major stopping point is. And that's the 200 week, and that's prior resistance becoming support. So longer term, really pay attention. I need to set an alert there just in case. That's close enough. I want to know when that breaks down below that. Because then you see here, you look over to your left, and I mean, there's a couple minor stopping points. You get to the daily, and you can fine tune it because you'll see the rotations on the daily. Okay, so that's where you can fine tune those key little levels using that down to move stuff down on the daily. But on the weekly basis, there's this little hitch, and other than that, there's not much there to really get in the way. Versus, you see up here, you see how many stopping points there are that have already been tested on the way down. You broke down, you had this key low, bounced there. Then you broke back below there, then you had this area, which we reversed off of. But once you start getting in this, you don't have those points. So I hope everybody can start looking at that on their charts. By the way, I want to do one more thing. Snow, I know they did their earnings. And so again, somebody reached out to me and said, look, I got heavily long today. I saw this double bottom pattern. So I got heavily long. I figured earnings would be really good, and I wanted to front run it. And, I mean, first of all, it's nowhere near triggering. But their idea was it's going to gap up so much it was going to trigger and then go back to major highs. Well, look. Where are we? 198.49. Anybody have the after hours low here? Look at that. Look at that. The full retracement of that full move and the harmonic level bouncing off of that after hours. Wonderful. This is why you don't want to, just because you see a potential pattern, this is just a potential. Okay, that doesn't mean that the probabilities aren't there until you at least get a trade above here. So just because you see a potential pattern, it never has to unfold. Another tip. You're watching this longer term. I have the retracements up here for a reason, because you got the close below the 62.5 here on the daily. Back here, you got a close below the 62.5. You had a close below the 62.5. What do I start doing? You can do this. It works very well. This has been tested on so many time frames. You get the close below the 62.5. What am I testing? I'm watching for a further drop and a potential retest of the whole move. And where do we go down to with earnings? A retest of the whole move. That's why I would not front run this just because you saw a potential double. We already were favoring, because it already closed on that daily basis below the 62.5. It now favors downside price action. But what people see is, it rallied up. That's fine. Things can rally up. Again, you use these other harmonic levels as key levels, but then it can rotate back down because longer term it favors the further drop in price action. So be very careful with trying to second guess price action and front run something because you think you see a potential trade. The probabilities don't, until this is a confirmed double, it doesn't matter. The probabilities don't exist. So don't put something that's there, because you can see plenty of doubles that never work out, especially in strong rallies. You see potential double top, potential double top, potential double top, potential double top, and none of them trigger. Just like this potential double bottom never triggered, never even got remotely close to triggering, and it reversed the whole move. Just want to keep people aware of that. Let's just peek at our commodity index too. Look at this. This is getting a little overdone. Oh, actually a lot overdone. Did you see, by the way, grains? Limit up today. Limit up again. So, boy, this is going to be fun with inflation. Wheat was limit up. Soybeans still acting strong, although not limit. The big thing was the pressure with wheat because of Russia and those major wheat production. But ZC, corn, not yet through, reacting a bit at these prior highs. But I'll give you another example. Would I want to say I'm getting short corn here because we have a major potential double top? That would not make sense. I'm watching for pullbacks in corn. I'm not getting short corn because we have a major potential double top that will probably, it could turn into a triple top before it ever triggered. It could pull back and then run back up here. So again, potential double, yes. Nowhere near triggering, so it doesn't matter to me. With that, let's see here. Any other questions? It's an awesome explanation. Thank you. Just keep in mind, because people get in the way of their own things. People try to think they have to capture what I went on that rant ago last Friday, was it? People trying to call every low, sell every high. And you pick the trades that are good. You pick the trades that set up well and that are actually the probabilities are confirmed. Are you going to win on every one of them? No. That's why I also hate to see that somebody sees a double. Let's even say you have 80-something% winners. I wish Jake was here right now. 80-something% winners. And you go, well, based off that, I'm going to bet, I'm going to triple my risk on this next pattern because I am super bullish in this stock. And I'm hitting 80% winners, so I'm tripling my risk. Well, that's one of the 20% or the 15% that didn't work. And you just tripled your risk. You don't know which ones are going to work. And some of the best looking ones, some of the things that I thought would work out the best, are the ones that have stopped me out. So that's where I want you to be careful. You got to play the probabilities, and just because you don't get your head getting away with the psychology with, this is a fantastic trade. I'm backing up the truck. I am putting it all on the line, because that could be the loser. Slow and steady wins the race. Okay, then there are times to push your bets a little. Like there'll be times after we get some market flush out at some point, whenever that happens, that there are times to press the bets more. But that doesn't mean you put everything on one bet. Because if that's the bet that doesn't work, you've caused yourself a major long-term setback. All right. With that, I think I'm going to call it a day. Would somebody mind putting in Discord that there was only this one live stream today? I need to take actually a break. Then we'll come back with Bob tomorrow. We'll hear his take on after 2 days of Powell testimony and everything else. And then I will do a separate stock segment after that one tomorrow. With that, not seeing any more questions. By the way, if you are new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button. Longer-term viewers and subscribers, please hit that like button and leave some comments. And with that, I will talk to everyone later. No, thank you, Wavy. Thank you for everybody who was able to attend live. We're not going to be in next one today, Wavy. Thanks. Enjoy your evening too, Christoph. I'll do a market preview stream tomorrow morning to prepare ourselves for possibly more volatility, and so we can figure out. Oh, the next one isn't tomorrow. Thank you. And so we can figure out our little game plan after we've digested the overnight trading. Bye. Thanks, Wavy. Thank you, and I will talk to everyone later. Bye for now.